Hi friends, I'm Joe Hopkins, and this is 5 Minutes to Make Sense of the Bible. This week we're focusing on 2 Samuel chapter 2 to 2 Samuel chapter 8. This short reflection is especially meant for folks who are reading the books of Samuel as part of the Life and Times of King David reading program of Streetsville United Church. But even if you're not participating in the program, please listen on. So here's a summary. Years after David was anointed as the future king of Israel, in chapter 2 of 2 Samuel, David finally is recognized as king, but only of the southern tribe of Judah. Saul's son, Ishbaal, becomes king of the rest of Israel, with Abner, the commander of Saul's former army, as the power behind the throne. Inevitably, the competition for rule over Israel comes to violence. The forces of David versus the forces of Abner, and, surprise, surprise, David's troops win the day. Abner runs away from the battlefield in defeat, and 3 brothers pursue him, and Abner kills one of them, which is important later on. Uneasy years of competition go by, with David ruling over the tribe of Judah, Ishbaal ruling over the rest of Israel. Then Abner, commander of Ishbaal's army, has an affair with one of Saul's former mistresses, and Ishbaal, Saul's son, does not like it one bit. Abner doesn't like being talked down to, so he immediately defects to the rival king, David. Despite all the years of violence between them, David accepts Abner, but on one condition: if he brings David's ex-wife, Michal, to David. Remember Michal? Yeah, she married another guy. That doesn't seem to matter to David. However, the 2 brothers of the warrior whom Abner killed earlier in the book don't like the détente between David and Abner, and they kill Abner. However, David weeps over Abner, much like he mourned Saul earlier in the story. Then 2 captains in Ishbaal's army turn on him and assassinate Ishbaal in his own bed. The assassins bring Ishbaal's head as a trophy to David, but David rebukes them, orders that they be executed, and grieves over Ishbaal like he did for Abner and Saul before him. Are you noticing a pattern here? I feel like there's a pattern here. Finally, after the remnants of Saul's power structure are all dead, not by David's hand, mind you, all the people of Israel recognize David alone as king over all Israel. David then seizes the city of Jerusalem and makes it his new royal capital. Plus, David defeats the Philistines again. Yes, the same Philistines he used to work for. So everything is coming together quite nicely for David. Next, David orders that the Ark of the Covenant be brought to Jerusalem. Everybody is dancing and singing as the Ark is transported, and everybody's happy, except for the little incident in which a guy accidentally touches the Ark and God smites him dead. That's not very happy. Now, as the Ark enters the city of Jerusalem, David's ex-wife, Michal, sees David dancing and despises him. There's a big party once the Ark is safely in place, and Michal chastises David for dancing nearly naked in front of the impressionable young ladies. David responds by saying, basically, she ain't seen nothing yet, and all the ladies love him anyway. So, there. Next, David wants to build a temple for God in Jerusalem, but God speaks through the prophet Nathan, saying to David that God is still pretty happy living in tents. God says that it would be one of David's sons who would build the temple, not David. God then blesses David and covenants with David that God would continue David's dynastic rule over Israel forever. And David responds with a prayer of praise and thanksgiving, and there is much rejoicing and more fighting. Yes, there's still more fighting. David defeats neighboring nations and makes them pay taxes to him and essentially sets up a military occupation over all the neighboring lands. I guess that's one way to see divine blessing. How about some questions for reflection? First, why do you think it might be important to the writer of the books of Samuel that David played no role in the deaths of Saul, Saul's sons, and Saul's military commanders? Question 2. What's the hardest you've ever danced? Not the best dancing, but the most effort you've ever put into dancing. Do you think that sort of dancing would be church appropriate, quote unquote? Question 3. What do you think are the surest signs of divine blessing? Does your concept of divine blessing look much like the blessings that King David enjoys? If not, what gives? So there, 5 minutes to make sense of the Bible. I hope that you'll continue to read the rest of the books of Samuel and notice some details that pique your curiosity. God often tries to catch our attention by piquing our curiosity, and as good as reading the Bible alone is, please remember that when we read the Bible together, we make the most sense of the Bible. Peace, friends.